Hi, it's Mitch from PickDogs.com. I got Steve Monahan, I got Rod and Chris, the Puck Dogs, with me. It's Sunday. It's really, Saturdays during college football are always my favorite day of the week, during my favorite time of the year. But I'll tell you what, I really like these Sunday shows. We have a lot of fun, and I like the audience response to it. It seems like these are also our most watched shows of the week. So I guess everybody else likes it too. Maybe in the future we'll be doing these a little bit more often, maybe a daily afternoon show, kind of like Around the Horn on ESPN. We won't call it Around the Horn. We won't call it anything to do with the horn. We'll just call it something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll just kind of, I think we have there's a lot of things in the pipeline, and, that's just one of the ideas that I have. We just got to, schedule it and get it done. But anyways, NFL Week 16, college football bowl season underway, NBA season kind of coming to this Christmas week where we have, a lot of these big matchups. And college basketball, we come out of Christmas week today is really the last day of like a regular college basketball schedule. Then we have like this Hawaii tournament over in Honolulu, and then they take a day off, and then Friday is a soft schedule as well. And then Saturday we come back, and then within a couple days, most of the conferences start conference play. So, while we've had some great out-of-conference college basketball so far this season, this has really been one of the better out-of-conference college basketball schedules I've ever seen. But when we hit conference play, it's a whole different ballgame, just like college football, where it's like these are the teams that are put together to play against one another, and it's like they know exactly what's going to go on. But we have a full schedule today of games still. We got NFL, we got 5 NBA today. NBA has an interesting approach to it all. They take just the one day off, Christmas Eve. NHL also takes a pretty big sabbatical. What's the schedule like again, Chris, on the NHL?
So they play. So there's 13 games tomorrow, and then they're off for 3 days, and they come back on the Friday, I think, with another full schedule.
Okay, so they come back Friday is the day?
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
So basically they're going
24th, 25th, 26th.
Boxing
they're off.
Day. So Boxing Day, they count as a holiday. It's kind of like in Canada, right? Boxing Day is a big deal. In the U.S., we call it the day after Christmas. It's like basically a lot of returns of the things you didn't want, and it's always if you're not a big Christmas gift buyer, there's something that was on your list that you're waiting to get on special. That's usually the day,
It's when you get up at 4 a.m. and stand in minus 15-degree weather to go and elbow people and run to the back of the store.
Well, I'll be on the golf course, but that's a different story. But it's like I may be online looking at some of the stuff that I've been wanting to get. I actually I never really thought about this, but I go through golf bags really quickly, because I play a lot of golf, so the bag actually gets a lot of wear and tear. I never even usually back in the day I always had the Naugahyde golf bag, and it was like it lasted forever. But now it's like these golf bags are like this lightweight material, and it's like, I've gone through 2 of them in the last 6 months, and they're not cheap ones either, So it's like there's no thing. But anyways, got a lot of games today. Of course, if you have I forget what I was going to say. If you have your own picks, put those in the Facebook group. If you have questions, Team A versus Team B with the point spread. Can't emphasize it enough. Maybe I might need to shrink the graphic on it. It's cutting off my head here. Or I could just tilt the camera, right? Just tilt it. There we go. I feel better. So
you look better.
That's impossible. But
how do you improve on perfection?
So the games yesterday, just a quick recap. We had a push. We had the Patriots do a 2-point conversion for the cover, and then the Niners just forgetting how to play defense in the first half, and until the end of the first half when Goff throws him the bone. And then I don't understand the coverage there at the end of the game by the Rams, and I got to think that there's some accountability there on the defensive coordinator, but also it's like I don't understand how what's his name, the corner, the All-Pro, the guy they traded for,
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey.
How does he not take accountability for this? I mean, isn't the reason why you make the big bucks and you're a superstar because you have the instincts, right, and the ability to defend these things? I mean, that's why you get paid the big bucks, not because you follow directions well. I mean, basically, if you're someone that follows directions well, we could just hire a cornerback on Craigslist, right? I mean, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So, anyways, what happened? I just lost something there. I just lost our pictures, right? Let's see if I can regain this.
My money maker.
Oh, this is weird. Can you guys see, what do you guys see on the screen right now?
I see you, I see Chris, and I see Rob.
All right, because I don't see that right now. It's weird.
Loving that New York Rangers Stanley Cup champion banner in the back down, Rob. Love it.
I don't know what I did. Oh, I see what happened. All right, there we go. All right. But let's get into today's schedule. Really only 2 playoff spots. You know, a week ago it seemed like, every playoff spot was up for grabs, but really only 2 postseason positions are left. Still seedings and all that stuff way up in the air. So there's a lot to play for still, but basically it's the Steelers or the Titans for the final playoff spot in the AFC. Derrick Henry not playing today for the Titans. And in the NFC, it's the Eagles versus the Cowboys. But we still have the Vikings-Packers on Monday night. That's a very meaningful game. And then next week, the Seahawks. And also, that game is also meaningful for the Saints, against the Titans too. So that's a monster game. But the game I want to talk about right out of the gate, and we'll get to some questions and stuff. We'll do all that stuff. But the football game I want to talk about is the Seahawks and the Cardinals. I think this is the interesting game, to me. The Seahawks, so much to play for here.
Right.
You got Russell Wilson. We got Kyler Murray, who's kind of like a Russell Wilson in training. He's looks very, very similar on the field as far as the way that he plays the game. I don't think he's as focused as Russell Wilson, but, I always think that Russell Wilson, like if I have a guy to pick as my quarterback, he's probably the guy over Tom Brady, because Tom Brady, I think, is more of a system quarterback that, that he does make the plays, he makes the throws, but he's basically following the script. And we've seen the script work with Jeff Hostetler as quarterback, and we've seen the script work with
Trent Dilfer.
Yeah, we've seen it work with a lot of different quarterbacks. And Matt, when the script works with Matt Castle and Doug Flutie, I don't know. I think you can't take anything away from Brady, but I don't think you could put him in the class of a quarterback that's, they got 3 losses this year. They have 10 games decided by 7 points or less. I mean, that's where the difference comes in. That's where Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson are difference makers when you're in these tight games. You look at the Seahawks, and they're depleted by injuries all season long. They've had this is the defense. If they can get healthy within the next week or two, which this is why it's so important for them, they've been banged up all season. When have you seen the Seahawks defense ranked in the mid-20s? You just don't see it. And if this team can get healthy, they're a Super Bowl team. I mean, you win 9 games by 7 points or less. I mean, think about it. Coaches have been fired, right, in for the Maple Leafs, right? The coach got fired. We talked about this just a few weeks ago. How many close games did they lose? It's like, here's the opposite side of the spectrum, and you have just a team that just always finds a way. I mean, they beat the Cincinnati Bengals by 1 point. You know, that's the type of season that it is for. And we've talked about it all season long. 18-16. You know, these are Seahawks games. Steve, what do you think about the Seahawks today at home against the Cardinals? They're a big favorite in this game, but you know, out of 14 games played, only 4 games are outside of this spectrum. The Cardinals obviously coming into a tough spot, and it's not like Seattle hasn't lost at home this season.
Right. Well, to your point, I really think, obviously, with San Francisco winning by the hair of their chinny chin chin, it sets up, you know, the big showdown for next week, like you talked about, you know, division and everything. Fact is, Seattle is favored by 9.5 points. And to your point about the defense being banged up, I just think it's such a, with the home environment and so much to play for, the Russell Wilson factor, the guy's lights out. You know, I think Russell Wilson is going to fall just short of the MVP for Lamar Jackson. I just think Lamar Jackson's done enough where he probably is going to win the MVP. Even though it's 9.5 and Seattle has played, to your point, a lot of close games, I just think, you know, they're going to stick it to the Cards today, and I can see I'll take Seattle on the points at home.
I think this is going to be a crazy game. You know, I think this is a chance.
I think there'll be a lot of points for it. I love the over.
Yeah, because we saw in that Rams 49ers with similar stakes yesterday. It really didn't matter much. You know, it was kind of like they just did. You know, it was wild, right? It's like this is today's NFL. It's just a different animal than what we used to see before. Chris, what are you thinking in this game?
Yeah, I'm on the same side as well. I mean, it's like you said, Seattle has played a lot of close games this year, but with that top seed in the NFC still up for grabs, I don't think Seattle can afford to let Arizona hang around in this one. Personally, I see it being a tight game throughout, but I think that Kyler Murray makes maybe a couple of mistakes down the stretch, and it kind of costs Arizona some points, and Seattle wins this one by a couple of touchdowns. So I would lay the points with Seattle.
Rod?
And I like the over as well.
Yeah, for me, Seattle wins this game, but not by that many points. I'll take Arizona in the points here.
I just think it's an interesting one, but we'll start to get through some questions. Here's a comment that we have, and I don't know, I'm going to have to shrink these or something, but let's see. It's just a lot of text there, Trevor. But basically what Trevor is saying here is that that something didn't show up on the YouTube page or whatever, we know. That's why I say in every video, I say it every day, I can't say it enough times, we are live every day at 10 a.m. Eastern time on the weekdays, 11 a.m. on the weekends. YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, or Facebook. All those are different ways to watch us live. We know that YouTube notifications are hit and miss. We know that YouTube, as much as we love them, can be hit and miss. I mean, what was it, 5 days ago they decided to just throw me off the whole thing? You know, 6 days ago?
Yeah,
5 or 6 days ago, they just decided, you know what? Mitch has too many viewers. He's too popular on here. I'm not as old as shitty as you know, some people would tell you that I am. But yeah, we got to just figure out exactly what's going on here. You know, it's like it doesn't even make any sense to me. But yeah, that's just the nature of the beast as we've come to figure out. But anyways, if you're watching the show, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can see it right there below the Puck Dogs. Puck Dogs. NHL heading into the break, really, right? What games are you guys? What game are you looking at in particular? There's only 4 games here. We got one starting rather quickly. We got the Rangers taking on the Ducks. Lundqvist is back in goal after his stint on Office Space. Chris, what do you think here with your friend in the net?
His jersey got to my doorstep this morning. I I like the Rangers in regulation here. Anaheim just played a back-to-back, and if that's not enough, the game went to overtime and a shootout. And Anaheim's lost 8 of their last 11 on a back-to-back. I think New York snaps out of their schneid with a win here.
Do you think that this Lundqvist is related to the Boston office space or the other Lundqvist that dated Jennifer Aniston?
That's not for me to figure.
Raj, what do you think of this one?
He didn't read the National Enquirer this week, apparently.
Hey, you got to have more. What do they call it again? The flair, more flair. Rod,
For me, the Ducks are 0-5, the last 5 in New York. The Ducks are on a back-to-back. You got to go with the Rangers here. I'll take the Rangers, and I like the under. I don't see a whole lot of goals here. I think Lundqvist will make some saves.
all right, we'll go back to the NFL then. Take a look at this Titans versus Saints matchup. The line is on the move with Derrick Henry being announced out for this game. You got to figure that it must be a really serious injury for him to not play in this game. The Titans, obviously, they need this one. I'm not so sure that the Steelers game at the Jets is such a layup that I originally thought it was. I put some thought into it, which is never a good idea. But we look at the Titans here against the Saints. It's a massive game for the Saints. I mean, it's big because it's a matter of going to Seattle where they've been wrecked in the playoffs. I mean, they beat Seattle in Seattle this season in the regular season with Bridgewater in there. But in the playoffs, they've been wrecked. I mean, wrecked. Remember the earth-shaking run? That was against the Saints. The Marshawn Lynch run where he broke 11 tackles and, that was against the Saints. And that was in the playoffs. So that's what they're looking at, down the road here. And they don't like the look of that. But the Titans, this is a team that the last few seasons have been in this exact same spot, and they have found a way. I'm personally on the Titans this game. I don't care about the Derrick Henry situation. I really like the Titans defense matching up against the New Orleans offense. And I know, call me insane. I don't care. You're not going to be the first people to ever say that to me. I like the way the Titans defense matches up against the Saints offense. They're not playing the Colts this week. Okay, the Colts sat back in I don't even know what kind of coverage that was, right? It was the coverage for the Colts was sit back 10 yards off the line when the Saints receivers run past you, maybe touch them or give them the refs any reason at all to throw a flag. And that's basically what happened in that game is we look back at that game and on Monday night and it was just a flag fest against the Colts defense. The Titans have the guns to stack up with these Saints receivers. And, you have Ryan Tannehill and Marcus Mariota as your quarterbacks, and you're in the playoff discussion, you got a serious defense. I mean, you have a dead serious defense. I love defense. I love defense in December. I'm going with the Titans +3. Steve, what do you think?
Well, I was on the Titans all week, but I really think the Derrick Henry thing will affect the Titans. I think the Saints have a lot to play for. I love your point about the Seattle not wanting to go there in the playoffs because I really, they probably would get trounced there, no doubt. But the fact that it's 3 points, I'll take the Saints here. I'm going to switch to the Saints. Michael Thomas has 133 catches or something like that. He's 11 away from breaking Marvin Harrison. I think Breeze is back from his injury. Obviously had the great night against the Colts. And I know the Titans got a good defense, but I just think the Saints are a much better team here. And I'm going to take the Saints and the points on the road here, no doubt.
Chris, any thoughts here?
Yeah, for a lot of the same points that Steve mentioned, I'm going to go with the Saints as well. I just think that as good as Tennessee's defense is, and they're going to be able to match up with New Orleans, I just think the Saints make those couple extra plays late, and they win this one by 4 points.
Rod?
Well,
no Derrick Henry scares me now. I like the Titans at home. I figured they could upset here, but I got to go. I'm going to switch. I'm going to go with the Saints. No Henry, no chance. Give me the Saints.
I hardly think Derrick Henry is a one-man team for this Titans, and I think we're getting tremendous value on the Titans here. I like them on the money line outright in this game. I think it's a no problemo game. They have some other running backs that could easily step up here in this spot, and it's like it. I understand all of those, all of the things, but I don't care. Derrick Henry's not a 3-point spread player. He's just not.
Scores a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, well, they give him the ball down the goal line. So
yeah.
I think that the wide receivers for the Titans have really stepped up this year too. I don't know if Janoris Jenkins is playing here for the Saints or not. I'm going to guess he is because they need immediate help in the secondary.
But I also think Tannehill is starting to play like Tannehill. He obviously did very well taking over from Mariota, and they went on a little streak there. But I think Tannehill's come back to earth, and again, the Saints have an awful lot to play for. Sean Payton's a no nonsense coach, and again, the Breeze factor. Again, I'm all in on the Saints here.
Name 3 players on the Titans defense that start. Chris, between the 3 of you, without Googling, name 3 players on the Titans defense that are starters. Okay, here's where you have your issue. Okay, you're looking at a very public team because I can name half the Saints defense off the top of my head. I watch a lot of football and I talk a lot of football. I have trouble naming 3 Titans defenders off the top of my head. That's usually a really good sign for a defense. that is usually a defense that is all business. And I really like this Titans defense, and you guys can say whatever you want, and I don't really care.
The only one I can think of is Kevin Byard. That's all I can think of.
Kenny Vaccaro, right?
Yeah, I mean, stud safety.
I love the Titans defense in this game. I just think that we're trying to get some quick stats here. See how they match up. I think the Titans get it done. Anyways, I'll take the Titans on the money line, and that's going to be my pick here.
Okay.
We can still hear, not see. Can't see. I'm going to guess they can see. Saints win it all. Yeah, right.
Saints win it all.
Yep. I went 8-0-1 in my in the NBA yesterday in my video picks. I most certainly did. The one tie.
The office.
The one tie was the last game of the night. The Portland Trailblazers. The thing is, I like the Blazers so much. I love the whole thing, the whole Portland thing, and Rip City, and I love the whole thing. They're so bad. It's like they're kind of like the bus has left the station already on this team, and it's like it's time to get rid of some of the veterans, break it down, and build it back up. And that's the only way you can win in professional sports these days. But when I see them in those winnable spots at home, where they can do it, I get excited. It's like people always say my voice inflection in the videos when I really like a game, I get all excited about it. That the Blazers are a team I get really excited about because they're kind of like that team that it's like they're the Blazers, but in Portland, they're everything, right? It's like their fans really get behind this team. So it's like when the fans can really get behind it, I really get behind it. It's like I get excited too, but they're the team that pushed. And if you got it at the right number, you won it. You won. So, but on the final lines, it was 8-0-1 yesterday for the NBA in those video picks. I've had a lot of those days in the NBA, a lot of them. Question: Baltimore Cleveland over 9.5 points in the first quarter. I have no idea. Saints versus Titans over 49.5 is a given, right? No, I like the under in that game. It's a given, right? No. It's a matter of fact, that comment makes me even double down on the under. It's like given, lock, death.
Well, we've been given a total, but that doesn't mean it goes over.
Right.
Steelers minus 3.5 versus the Jets. Steve, how's the jersey smelling this morning?
I'm well in on the Steelers here. They're still fighting for a playoff spot. The Jets, I've talked about where I live, and I get to, from media reports every day, and I kind of know what's going on with the Jets. They're just so inconsistent. The Steelers, much better team. Minka Fitzpatrick in the secondary. Sam Darnold has he had a terrible year? He was out with mono. He's had a couple good games, but he's very inconsistent. Still a young quarterback. The fact that Pittsburgh still has that third-string quarterback, I think Pittsburgh's defense will shut the Jets down. Le'Veon Bell still hasn't cracked 100 yards. I don't see him doing that against the Steelers' defense. The weather here in New York it's okay. It's maybe high 30s, no wind really, so I think field conditions will be good. But I'll take the Steelers here. I just have no faith in the New York Jets.
Does Haley Joel Osment play Sam Darnold in the movie here because he sees dead people? I mean, I'm not really sure. It's like
you would definitely get an audition. There's no question.
Hey, it's week 16. I'm pulling out all the stops here. Rod, do you see dead people or do you see the Jets?
That's 3.5. I see this as a field goal game. I'll go with the Jets plus 3.5.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm on the Steelers as well. I mean, you got to remember this is also Pittsburgh's first chance to get back at Le'Veon Bell. So I think that defense is going to come out firing, and I think they're going to shut him down as well. I like them to win by at least a touchdown.
I think I like the under in this game because I've liked the Steelers all week, and I'll tell you, the more I watch the game film on Hodges, the more I see that this guy can't win a game by more than.
No, this guy's not. I don't think he's good. He's thrown some real dog interceptions, man.
Hideous. And it's like that scares me. Even against a Gase coach team, even against Sam Darnold, even against all those things, because you got to figure the Steelers defense probably is gonna focus on Le'Veon Bell in this game, and that might open up some lanes. And the Steelers kicking game is mediocre. You got a quarterback that's really this side of, here's mediocre. He's probably to this side of mediocre. And that scares me in December road games. This is probably the Jets' last home game of the season. Well, no, it can't be because the Giants played. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. They play the Bills, right, next week, the Jets. And they played the Bills already at the Jets.
Yeah,
the Bills played the Jets. The
Jets are on the road at Buffalo.
Yeah, so they're on the road. So this is their last home game. It's the last chance for the fans to treat Gase like the fans treated Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. the other night. So I think that they'll probably come out in droves for this event. And
a lot of heads of lettuce thrown around the Meadowlands. Is that what you're saying? And rotten tomatoes and chairs.
Wasn't there the plastic beer bottle game? Wasn't that at the Meadowlands? Where they just pelted the end zone with the plastic
bottle?
Remember they used to have those plastic beer bottles they used to sell at the games? Now they don't give them anymore, right?
Santa Claus has been assaulted at the Meadowlands too with snowballs.
Back in the day when I was a kid, you used to be able to bring in a cooler and a thermos, basically whatever you wanted, into the games. Then the ref got hit in the head with a bottle in Minnesota, so that kind of changed things, but really not all that much. I know in Buffalo, you were allowed to bring in a liter of the beverage of your choice.
That's right.
It was like, how about a liter of grain alcohol? It's like that's what they were basically bringing in. And, I've seen it all throughout the years, but I know the Miami fans did the same thing. The Hurricane fans have done the same thing with the plastic bottles, and that was really not that long ago when they had those plastic beer bottles that they gave out to the fans in the crowd. That was one of the worst ideas, probably. That I'm going to guess the guy who works at Anheuser-Busch that came up with that idea, no longer with the program.
The all-time beer bottle is 1975 when Roger Staubach's Hail Mary hit Drew Pearson down the right sideline. And was it interference? Was it not? It's the right corner of the end zone.
I thought that was peppermint schnapps.
Was the referee, and he got smoked by a glass beer bottle.
But I thought it was peppermint schnapps, a bottle of peppermint schnapps he got hit in the back of the head with. That's what I remember. But who knows? Fantasy football question. Fantasy football goes in the Facebook group. You got to ask Brett. He is the best at fantasy football I've ever seen in my whole life. Does home field play the same weight in the NHL as it does in other leagues? Seems home dogs win more. Rod?
It could vary. Look at the Coyotes. They're not so good at home. They're 8-9 at home, and then they're awesome on the road. So it can vary, but I'd rather have a home dog. Well, home dogs are usually good, but it varies. Like some hockey teams play great at home, and then some just struggle. It can go either way.
I mean, you also look at it. You can get an underdog with a team that plays somewhere 41 times a year, as opposed to someone that maybe plays once or twice. So I mean, there's a level of comfortability that you can't get with a road dog. That's why a lot of times home teams are 80 to 90% of the time, for certain stretches, home teams will be favored.
Got the Ravens -10 against the Browns, and what used to be the Art Modell Bowl.
Yep.
Now it's just the Ravens and the Browns. I don't know. I mean,
is this still 10 points?
10. I've seen it higher than this.
I love the Ravens here. That's not even a question here. I think the Browns have imploded. I think they're dysfunctional. I think the Ravens obviously are looking to clinch home field advantage throughout. Lamar Jackson is probably going to run up and down the field and have a typical day. And Baltimore's defense, Baker Mayfield is probably good for a couple picks here, a couple turnovers. I love the Ravens here.
If the Ravens win here, they get the week off next week.
Yeah.
And the week
they got a lot to play for still. Then they'll take their foot off the pedal. But, I think they got one more week of playing Raven football, which has been outstanding.
If they win here, they clinch home field in the AFC.
Right.
So they've got the wins over the Chiefs and the did the Chiefs? They beat the Chiefs or they lost to the Chiefs?
They beat the Chiefs. I'm pretty sure.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they beat the Chiefs. They beat the Patriots. So they're in good shape.
Yep.
They get a win here. They're first round. They are first in the AFC. They need one win in their next two games.
Well, they have the tiebreakers over all those teams and the better record now. So.
Yeah.
Rod, any opinion on this game?
Yeah, I'm with Steve. I think the Ravens win by 2 touchdowns, no problem. They're going to come in and they're refocused, win this game, knowing they're going to get a couple weeks off.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm on Baltimore as well. Cleveland's just a mess, and this late in the season with so much on the line for Baltimore, I don't see that turning around here.
We've got the Falcons and the Jaguars. Steve, anything in this one? I mean, this is a good one. Like, if this is the take a nap special.
Yeah, I'm not going to be going out of my way to tune in on this one. But
I hit something. Hold on a second. There we go. All right.
I think the Falcons, after a real, miserable start to the season, have turned it around offensively for the last month. The Falcons are home. Jags firing Tom Coughlin. They are kind of like the Browns, somewhat dysfunctional. Marone is definitely probably going to be shown the door. I think the Falcons, Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, they're favored by a touchdown, 7 points. The fact that it's home, I'll take the Falcons scoring a bunch of points here. So I like the Falcons to cover against the Jags.
I like the Jags in this one. I think the Falcons are just way too much love on them. I think the Jags are kind of flying under the radar in this spot like they were last week against the Raiders. The Jags are 2 years removed from the championship game. The Falcons 2 years removed from the Super Bowl. But the Falcons, they don't do anything special. They're just not. I don't know. It's like, what do you do with some of these teams? There's some of these teams out there, and it's like the Falcons are one of them. What do you do? If you're the general manager, what do you do? Do you try and trade away some of these big names, big contracts, or do you try and build around them and build for the future? I think they have a lot of big decisions to make. So while it might not be a turmoil situation like needing to set all the clocks back to the regular time and, no players are allowed to sit on their helmets again if they're tired, I just think that, I think the situation in Atlanta is just as bad. I think you have a lame duck head coach at this point.
Yeah, they do.
They do. Which is never a good sign. And I just think that, I think the Jags, they have a lot to play for too. And they have a lot of guys. The Jags always seem to have a lot of guys on the roster that regardless, when you have a management change like that, now you have guys playing for jobs because new management comes in.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to clean house. And there's going to be some house cleaning in Jacksonville for sure. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the Jags just are a physical team. Matt Ryan gets sacked a lot. He gets sacked a real lot. And I think that the Atlanta defense kind of sets up for Minishew's game, where he doesn't really throw the deep ball. He kind of picks you apart over the middle. I'm gonna take the Jags here. What do you guys think, Puck Dogs? Rod?
Yeah, I like the Jags here too. I Atlanta trying to cover a touchdown and then 0.5. No, I'll take the Jags here plus 7.5.
Chris?
Yeah, I'm on the Jaguars as well. I just think it's maybe a bit of a letdown spot for Atlanta after beating San Francisco last week. And I mean, Jacksonville's not a terrible cover team on the road. They're 4-3 against the number on the road this season. And I can see it being a 3-4 point game, so I'll take Jacksonville the points.
Steve, how about the Chiefs and the Bears on Sunday Night Football? Patrick Mahomes going to Soldier Field, not an easy place to play. The Bears still holding on to a glimmer of hope here, and the glimmer of hope will remain until the end of the game here, because the Vikings play on Monday night, and interestingly enough, if the Packers beat the Vikings, and they need that game too for the home field, which Lambeau in the playoffs is where you want to be. We've seen the officiating at Lambeau Field all season. We've seen the officiating in Lambeau Field in the playoffs throughout the years. That's definitely where the Packers want to be. But, so I wouldn't give the Vikings the automatic on Monday night. And then if the Vikings lose, then it's a face-off against the Bears. They play them next week for the playoff spot, basically. And the Bears have already beaten the Vikings this season. That was in Chicago. It was earlier this year when, people thought the Bears had a pulse. But I think the Bears have played a little bit better recently since Thanksgiving. I mean, they played the Lions, so it really doesn't say much. But I don't know. I think that...
unless they played the Giants. I mean, yeah, the Bears played better, yeah. But really against some somewhat inferior competition. I like the Chiefs here. You know, Mahomes played in the snow last week or the week before, whatever it was. Didn't seem to affect him. He seems to be okay. The bulky knee. Mahomes, weather-wise, is lights out. The Chiefs have a lot to play for here. I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs here. I got 6 points last I saw it.
I'm hearing Bears are officially eliminated, so maybe my playoff projections are wrong.
Yeah, I think the Bears are out.
All right. Well, the Bears are out. I don't care. I still like them in this spot. How about that?
That's fine.
I like the Bears. I like the home team, and I just think that the Chiefs, what we've seen in a lot of these night games, is the home dogs traditionally get it done in these night games. So,
but I like the fact that the Chiefs went to New England on a night game and played very well.
They're not going to get the calls that they got in New England, which as much as I'm not going to plead, a case for those guys, they won that game. I've been a fan of teams that have not gotten the calls, and the fact that a player that you don't have any challenges and on a play that decides the game is something that the rules committee is going to have to take a long, hard look at, because the guy's wearing white shoes and the sideline is white, and you can't, the referee. I mean, are these guys subject to vision testing before every game or something? Because I don't really understand what's going on here, and I think this will be one of the more interesting years. While the rules committee always comes up with some kind of stupid ideas, like it's always moving the kickoff back 2 yards, right? Or like now the guys can't on the kickoffs. The guys can't. This was the dumbest rule besides the elimination of the horse collar. Well, there's been a lot of dumb rules, but I think the dumbest rule in recent memory is this kickoff rule where the guys can't move until the ball is kicked, because what that's done is, aside from that 40-second clock taking away from the final 2 minutes of the game and making it basically decided in the last 2 minutes, right, is that this makes it almost impossible to get an onside kick, right? So it's like, I really don't understand that rule, but I think that this year will probably be the most significant. I think also moving the extra point back was the best rule change, right? The extra point kick, moving that back was the best rule change in recent years. But I think that this year will probably be one of the most trying years for the rules committee because of the. I also don't like this 10-second runoff rule. I still don't understand it.
I don't understand it either.
I don't understand the 10-second runoff rule. So the Bills, there's some kind of stoppage in play because of a replay at the end of the game, like that the refs did the replay, right? So the refs called for a replay because they made the incorrect call, right? The refs made the incorrect call, so the refs make the incorrect call. So they go to the booth for the replay, but it's a 10-second runoff for the game. I don't. What is that? Or someone has to take a timeout. I don't understand that rule. I don't understand it. I do not understand the rule. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I've seen it a bunch of times come into it. It always seems to be a huge factor. It's like, what's the purpose of that one?
Because if the ref had the call right, and he would have been down short of that goal line, it would have taken them more than 10 seconds to rush down there to try to spike the ball to get another play in, right?
They had a timeout.
That's why but they had one timeout. If they didn't have that timeout, the 10-second runoff goes in and game's over. The only reason that saved them from that 10-second runoff was the timeout. If they didn't have that timeout, then the 10-second runoff comes in and the game's over. Which is probably, if they have no timeouts and you're trying to score at the end there, there's no way in 8 seconds, I don't think you can run down the field after that play and be able to spike it in 8 seconds.
I don't like it. What do you guys let's see? Dallas -2.5 against the Eagles. Dak Prescott banged up of banged ups coming into this one. Cowboys have not played 2 good games in a row since the first few games of the season. They looked great against the Rams last week, but they've been consistently inconsistent.
That is a good way to state it, and I think it continues. I think the audience knows by now I'm a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan my whole life, but the fact that they're going to Philly, Prescott being hurt, defensively the Cowboys' tackling is atrocious. Leighton Vander Esch is one of their better linebackers in his second year. He's been banged up. He's hurt. I hate the Cowboys secondary. I think Byron Jones is overrated. He was our number 1 pick a few years back. I know you're not a Carson Wentz guy, but I just think, it's going to be a hostile environment. The Eagle fans will be riled up. I think the Eagles will be ready to play. So I hate to say it, but I gotta be objective and take the Eagles here, just because the Cowboys just so inconsistent, and I just think the Eagles are probably going to win this game, so I'll take the Eagles.
Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I went back and forth on it. I mean, I still like Dallas here. I mean, it's going to be a hostile environment, like Steve said, but I still think that Dallas has to live up to expectations of this being a really talented team that's still fighting for a division that could go into the playoffs with a 500 record. So, I mean, I just think that Dallas sort of has to make a statement here. I'll lay the points. I don't feel good about it, but I'll lay the points.
How about you, Rod?
Yeah, I think Dallas can win by a field goal here. It'll be a.
So, just to get this straight from you guys, Puck Dogs. So Dallas couldn't win against the Jets, who you're taking Hodges right against, but at New York, but they can win at Philly in a meaningful game in December. So that's what you guys are saying there. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, this is basically, these are the scenarios, right? These are the cards that were dealt here, right? This is a team that couldn't beat the Buffalo Bills on Thanksgiving, where they traditionally, when they have the good teams, they blow people out in that game. When they have the bad teams, Lawrence Taylor runs in for touchdowns on them, right? We've seen that before. But anyways, I'm just throwing it out there. Everyone can.
I like the under better than that. I like the under better as my stronger play in that game, though.
Marshall versus Northern Iowa. I did a video on this game. This is how many videos I'm doing these days. I did 27 videos yesterday. I've done in the last 2 days probably 65 videos. So I'm so dialed into doing videos on YouTube. I did the Marshall Northern Iowa game. So you can get my detail on this game in this one, but I'll give you the brief, the Reader's Digest version. I took Marshall in the points. I've been on Northern Iowa all season long. Northern Iowa has just the one loss this season at West Virginia, and they have been red hot, and I've been all over them, for all of those covers all season. They've only not covered the spread once all season. We had them against Colorado. They were our dog of the day, right? Dog of the day. Northern Iowa, they beat them outright. It's time to get off the train. The way that I've lasted in this business so long, and the reason why I've been popular throughout the years or whatever, is I know when to get on the train, which is always a little bit too early, and I know when to get off the train. It's time to get off the train on Northern Iowa because the public is on them. After the new year, maybe in March, we'll have a good opportunity. When the NCAA tournament rolls around and Northern Iowa is there, and we're getting all sorts of value on them because people have kind of forgotten about what's happened in these months. And you have to remember that a lot of people that are betting college basketball in March and February, well, March especially, right? They don't even know that college basketball has already started, right? 80% of the people that are betting college basketball in March don't know that college basketball starts in, that Northern Iowa has already played 11 games. It's not even the new year. I just think that when you have a team that's riding like that, the public starts to catch on. And when the public catches on, it's time to get off. And it's like, I just don't think when Northern Iowa, and normally we could say, oh, well, we'll get into conference play, we'll get a chance to jump back on, like we have been doing with the Brooklyn Nets, right? We're on, we're off, we're on, we're off. The Oakland A's, we're on, we're off, we're on, right? But Northern Iowa in their conference, we're not going to get that many opportunities. So it's just a different situation. But I think in March, they're one of those teams that we kind of put on the shelf like we did with Furman last year and Wofford, right? Like we do with the Furmans and Woffords. We kind of just put them on the shelf and we say, one day Wofford's going to play Kentucky and they're going to be a horse, but they end up pushing in that game, right, against Kentucky. What ends up happening is Wofford only gets 2.5 against Kentucky because they were that good, right? But so not the best example, but that's just me. I'm on Marshall in this game. I did a video. I wanted to go shorter on this. Giants, Redskins over 42. Steve, Daniel Jones back in the house for the
Daniel, the turnover machine Jones is back. I love the over here. I think this is probably one of my best of the day. The fact that Daniel Jones is really a turnover machine. Dwayne Haskins, obviously, another rookie quarterback. I can see turnovers galore in this game. The fact that it's in Washington, I got to pick somebody, but I'll take the Redskins at home with the points. But I think the over here is pretty conceivable here.
Chris, you got any opinion here?
Yeah, I'm on Washington as well. I didn't trust Daniel Jones to begin with, and now who knows what we're going to see in his first game coming back from injury. I like Washington at home here.
Rod?
I like the over. Let's go over 42.5.
I still don't like that Daniel Jones draft pick. I'm gonna ride it. I think Giants draft picks are some of the easiest to criticize over the years, and I think this one just is right in line with with all of them. Steve here has heard it every year for the last 30 years. Me criticizing Giants drafts, and I think I've been on the money with most of them. The only one that I think I've been dead wrong was Saquon Barkley, and the jury's still out. But he had a great rookie year. This year, not as good. But he could
nowhere near as good.
He could be out of football in 2 years. Playing behind that line. And
that's right.
And the thing is about the rest of the Giant drafts, though. I mean, they've been just absolutely hideous. And I think Daniel Jones pick 6, right? I believe that he fits that mode. The Giants, that was the big joke at the time. But I think that the Giants fans are starting to see that really it wasn't. So it was one of those jokes with a lot of truth behind it. He was the 6th pick in the draft, pick 6, throws a lot of picks, and I think he'll continue to throw a lot of picks throughout his career. I just think he's that type of guy. I don't think he was worthy of that pick. Just like I didn't think when they took Dave Brown in the supplemental draft out of the same school that was such a sharp move either. Steve Spurrier has kind of an offense that works at the college level, at the pro level, not as effective. He did this game. Nice weather in Chicago. That's all relative.
Yeah.
We did this game.
It may be nice weather during the day, but it's going to get cold at night.
Yep, the refs didn't miss a huge face mask in that Bills game as well.
He still got the touchdown.
Oof. Carolina at Indianapolis. The Colts are minus 6.5 in this one after that defensive. I don't know what they did last week against the Saints. That was abysmal. It's one of those games. That was one of those games that makes you not want to watch football anymore. The Saints versus the Colts. It's one of those games that say, I don't like the NFL anymore. And I think I've seen games like that in college as well. But I think in the NFL we see them more often, where it's like, I think what the NFL knows as a corporation, because that's what they are, right? What they know as a corporation is this: that the average fan doesn't really understand the game enough to really understand the nuances of the game. They understand the players. They get excited about it. They understand the rules. They understand, a lot of these different things. But what they don't understand is what difference your game plan makes when a lead goes to double digits. And that's the whole different thing. It's like, oh, they killed them. Yeah, because once they were down by 10 points, they couldn't run the football anymore, and they had to throw, and the other team knew they were going to throw, and that's why he got sacked so many times. Not because, of all of these other reasons that they're talking about on TV, because, J.J. Watt is a superstar, which he is, right? Which he is. But it's like, it's not, which he's coming back for the playoffs, which is awesome, right? That's awesome, right? I mean, the playoffs will be better with J.J. Watt, regardless of what the Texans do. But, that's a huge part of the game. And when it's a penalty that causes that to happen, it cheapens the game. It cheapens the game. And it's always some ticky-tack call that they don't show again on TV. And last week, that was the case in that Saints-Colts game. It was the case. The game swung. It was 3rd and 9. It was an incomplete pass. They called defensive holding. They showed the replay. Booger talked about something, whatever he talks about. He didn't once mention, there's the hold, because it wasn't there. The Saints get a first down. They end up scoring a touchdown on that drive, and the game was over at that point. That's what the NFL banks on week after week after week, and we see it all the time. The second down holding penalties, right? Yeah. Falcons, Patriots, Super Bowl, right? I had the Patriots. I even had them in-game. I had the Patriots halftime money line. I took them at plus 450, right? I had the Patriots all the way when they were losing at every level that the Patriots were losing in that Super Bowl against the Falcons. I bet the Patriots. But I'll tell you one thing. When push came to shove in that game, the NFL said it's better for us for the Patriots to win, and this is how they did it. Second down, the Falcons are in Patriots territory. All they need is a field goal to cement this game. They complete the pass, they get the first down, they call the hold, right? The random hold call that never happened. Pushes them back out of field goal range. Now they have to pass. Everybody in the world knows they have to pass. Bill Belichick knows they have to pass. What happens on the next play? Strip sack.
Yep.
Patriots get the ball, march it down the field, overtime. You see it all the time. Look back to I could name specific plays in games where this happened, phantom calls that swung games, like, Patriots Colts. Okay, a Patriots loss in the playoffs the year they wanted Peyton Manning to win the Super Bowl, right? It was Peyton Manning's turn, right? It's Peyton's turn. They're down big to the Colts. The Colts are down big at home to the Patriots in the championship game. Down big. Phantom holding call. Flips the whole game around. And all of a sudden, here come the Colts. It would have been game over, right? Same thing. Overturns this play. And it's just a generic second down play that nobody thinks anything of. But anyways, I could, at some point, maybe next year in the season preview, I'll beat that one into the ground again. I usually do it about once a season. Denver versus Detroit. It's Team A versus Team B with the point spread. Lucky penny. What the hell? Let's do it. Why not? Eagles, Cowboys, just to see what the Lucky Penny has to say here. Oh. Lucky Penny likes the Beagles. Thank you. I love doing the videos. By far the best sports handicap videos on YouTube. Crew and very responsive. I appreciate y'all. It's weird because just 3 months ago or 4 months ago, someone told me I was too old and shitty to do this. So it's exactly what they said. Yep, we got tons of college basketball picks. As a matter of fact, we have every single game covered today at pickdogs.com. And of course, on YouTube, I did, 12 college basketball videos. So yes, we do have college basketball picks. Question mark, exclamation point, double question mark. I'd like to thank Denise McDonald, our personal friend, for sending me those chocolate-covered pretzels with the caramel inside, with a few peanuts sprinkled on top underneath the chocolate dipping. I was a little worried that Denise wasn't going to send the pretzels this year. I've been waiting by the mailbox patiently. She sends me 2 and 2 for my wife. That's one person who you have to send the Facebook happy birthday to every single year. Total emoji storm, you know. Sunshine emoji, pineapple emoji, double birthday cake emoji, pretzel emoji. You got to be on that list. Dallas Mavs versus Raptors -2. Over 218. Chris from Toronto.
Yeah, I'm going to side with the over here. I think we see a high-scoring game. I think both teams could easily hit 110 in this one.
Rod from Canada.
The other side of the country, Canada.
Yes.
I'm going to take Dallas plus 2.5 here. They're just playing better basketball. I don't care if Luka's out or not.
Yep.
Steve?
No, I'm the same. We'll take the Dallas Mavericks.
I love the way the Mavs are playing right now. I took them the other night as the dog in Philly, and I got hammered on the YouTube comments in that one as well. I'll tell you, Porzingis, it seemed like it took a little bit of time for him to kind of get back up to speed and for him to kind of find his game again, wipe off a little bit of the rust. But with Luka out, he has really stepped it up, and you got to remember, this guy can play, and I will rephrase what Spike Lee said about him when he was a Knick, and I won't say the exact way that Spike Lee said it, but let's just say he's not afraid of any of the other guys out there, and it's like he's not afraid of anybody. Kind of just takes everybody on.
Helps being 9 foot tall, too.
Yeah, it certainly does. Aloha from Oahu and Waikiki Beach, so Tom now knows how early I get up in the morning to do these shows. Aloha and Mela Kalikimaka, something that you've probably heard a lot of this week coming up. And it's like, I love the tourists, here in Hawaii. That you can always tell the tourists, a lot of mahalos, a lot of alohas, a lot of mahalos. Mahalo. Yeah, I haven't been really to Waikiki in about 5 or 6 years, but if you've never been there, it's kind of like for me, it's like, I don't know, it's super touristy. I mean, you have like all the Hawaiian beauty of the ocean and the beach, and awesome waves, right? Awesome. I mean, it's Waikiki Beach, right? Got Diamond Head. It's not like, Diamond Head's in the distance or whatever. It's right there. It is right there. It's awesome. They have a lot of outrigger canoe races there, but a lot of tourists, and it's like a lot of big hotels, things that they don't have here in Maui. But it's kind of like, if you're coming to Hawaii, you want to spend at least a day or two there just to see it, and then kind of expand your reach. But Cowboys, Eagles, over under 46. But I hope you're having a great time in Oahu at Waikiki. I stayed the last time I was there. I stayed at the Ilokai. It's right across from the Hilton Hawaiian Village. Not bad. The original Hawaii Five-0 had a scene on the intro with the guy standing right on top of the building. Anyways, over under in the Cowboys, Eagles. Probably the
under.
Under? I think probably
Under
for me. Rod, any idea here?
Under for me. This is going to go under.
Yeah,
Chris?
I'm on the under as well.
I like the over. I think this is wide open. I think you have a coach in Peterson that has a bag of tricks, and I think he opens the whole bag today. There's no reason that play you've been saving. There's nothing to save it for anymore. There is no tomorrow. Rod, -1.5 puck line plus 180. Dallas versus Calgary.
Not for this guy. Dallas versus Calgary. Calgary at Dallas. I'm going to go contrarian on this play, and I think everybody is going to jump on Dallas here, and I'm going to take Calgary. I think Calgary can sneak into Dallas and get themselves a win. Calgary money line.
Chris, you flaming hot for the Flames, or are you seeing stars?
I'm on the other side. I'm going to go Dallas in regulation. Calgary's been a streaky team. Yeah, they're 7-3 in their last 10, but they've lost 3 games in a row. Dallas has just been strong at home.
Wait a minute.
Calgary
so judging
lost.
by your last picks, do we have a Dallas parlay going on here? Stars, Cowboys, and
Mavericks. We could try that.
All Dallas parlay for Chris.
Yeah, Dallas has won 7 of the last 8 against Calgary. I'm back on Dallas here in regulation.
It almost makes sense, right? It almost makes sense. It's like I don't like the picks, but it's like, all right, yeah, we might be onto something here. Booger shouldn't be announcing these games. Bring in Pat McAfee. I think at worst a third man in the booth. This is the last 2 years Monday Night Football has been some of the worst announcing that I've seen. The worst announcer, could be in history. It was Jason Witten. He could be the worst I've ever seen. But it's like, I think when you start using other people's catchphrases, and things like that, that's when you're really in big trouble. I know Keith Berman did it with, but he did it kind of in tribute to. He didn't do it kind of like taking it on his own. The Keith Berman, he could go all the way is from Howard Cosell.
Chris Berman.
Yeah, Chris Berman. He could go all the way is from Howard Cosell. Those people that don't know that. But that's what that is from. But he does it the way that he uses his voice and everything. He does it. Those people that understand that know that it's a tribute to Howard Cosell.
Exactly,
that he's doing that, and he always was doing it that way. But when Jason Witten's sitting there with bam and whatever, he's not doing it in the John Madden style. That's for sure. Patriots, Packers get the calls. They seem to. Thank you, because I was told I was too old for this stuff. You guys are the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have times you go live? Sometimes I miss the show. Chris, what time do we go live?
10 a.m. on weekdays, 11 a.m. on weekends.
There it is. 10 a.m. on weekdays, 11 a.m. on weekends, during daylight savings time. When we come out of daylight savings time, it's 11 o'clock all the time.
Just hit the little bell down here and subscribe. You don't miss out on a halftime show.
I don't think Joe Burrow is going to be there unless they trade up. They have a lot of picks, so it's certainly something that they can do. The Dolphins have a lot of picks, so they can basically take whoever they want in the draft. I could hardly see the Bengals.
They're not passing on Burrow if they get the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Bengals, I think that's a lock.
What if the Dolphins?
No such thing as a lock. We don't say that, but it's the most sensible pick.
What if the Dolphins offer their number 1 and the Texans or Steelers number 1 with it?
Oh, that might make a.
Joe Burrow's going to be the number 1 overall pick.
Oh, right. But I'm just saying that the Bengals they could easily pass on him if the Dolphins make them the right offer, because they have not just all those first-round picks, they got a bunch of second-round picks. The Dolphins are like, there have been drafts where teams have owned the draft in the past, like the Raiders had all those picks last year or whatever. But this year, the Dolphins really control the draft, like more so than the Raiders did last year. They have full control of this draft. Outside of that number 1 overall pick, which I believe is theirs for the taking if they want it. And I'll tell you, if they play the way they've been playing all season, it's not out of reach for them to actually earn it, by losing today and next week when they play the New England Patriots, who are gonna need that game, because the Chiefs, if the Chiefs win, like everybody on this show except for me has said that will happen, then they will have the tiebreaker over the Patriots. So the Patriots will need to win next week, and the Patriots host the Dolphins next week. So if the Dolphins lose to the Bengals here, they lose next week at New England, They both have 3 wins. Well, the Bengals would need to win next week, but they might be. Who do they play? The Ravens. The Ravens will probably sit half their team next week. I don't know who they play. That's a good question. If it's either the Ravens or the Steelers, right? Or it could be the Browns.
It might be the Steelers. I think the Steelers Ravens.
Yeah. Detroit, Denver, over under 39.5.
What's the over under?
39.5.
I think I like the over here. I think the Broncos are they're home. I think they'll show up and play.
I got no idea.
I like the Broncos to cover, actually.
I got no idea.
Like with David Blau on the road in an environment like Denver, and expect them to show up.
Rod, did you hit your parlay again yesterday? Because if so, you were on an outright heater because you guys both hit the parlay the day before as well. Rod killed his parlay.
One wrong again.
Clippers Thunder over under 220. It's 222.5. I like the over in that one.
Over.
You are special and you know what you're doing here. There's no luck in this, and you're never old. You're always young. I don't know. I feel old sometimes. What do you think of over-unders? This is way too many questions, one per person. I think the former NBA coach is a marijuana farmer in Hawaii. No, actually, Don Nelson, he lives down the street. He's not a marijuana farmer, but what he is he has a medical marijuana card, so he can grow his own plants, and he does. But he's not a farmer by any stretch of the imagination. But he's known that he grows his own, and,
He's going to Hawaii.
Yeah, he's
marijuana. I thought that was just pineapples. Lots of pineapples.
He just moved to a new house.
Yeah, they did a piece on Real Sports with Brian Gumbel and Don Nelson. So if you want to learn all about his usage and see his plants, I highly recommend you check that out.
Did they show it? Because
yeah.
I know he's good friends with Willie and that whole gang.
Yeah.
Ravens Steelers play next week, so it's Browns Bengals, and so Bengals could beat the Browns too. We lost sound. I don't know. Nobody else has said that. Yeah, there's no point spread in this one. So, anyways, we've had a pretty long show here, hour and 12 minutes. Pretty much covered it all. Any games that well, I guess we'll just do the around the horn, or we'll go around the clock, or around the grid, or we'll just let everybody speak for themselves. Chris, I'm going to go to you first, and we're going to just have you recap we're going to have you recap your picks, give out what's your best bet, parlay, and anything else you want to say to our audience, as long as it's G-rated.
Okay, well, I'll start with the hockey. I like the Rangers in regulation. Just don't like the Ducks on the back-to-back. I like Arizona -1.5 against Detroit. Detroit's just a mess right now. I like Dallas in regulation at +105, and I like Vegas in regulation at +110. My 3-team birdcage for today is going to be Arizona -1.5, Dallas in regulation, and Vegas in regulation all on the ice for +782. For my NFL today, I like the Ravens +10. I like Pittsburgh
-10. Minus.
Did I have to say minus?
Ravens -10.
Sorry, Ravens -10.
They're not +10 against the Browns. You sound like the guys in our Facebook group. Should I bet the Ravens +10 at -6,000?
Yeah.
Ultimate teaser. Pittsburgh -3, New Orleans -3. I like Dallas -2.5, and the under 46.
So a few
Carolina
favorites in there in your mix in NFL. Favorites.
Carolina +7, Washington +1. I like Seattle -9 and over 51, and I like under 46.5. Or sorry, under 44.5 on the Chiefs in Chicago. For college hoops, I like South Carolina plus 11 against Virginia. I like UC Riverside minus 1.5 against San Jose State. Iowa State minus 18 against IPFW. And New Hampshire plus 19 against UConn. And my lone NBA pick, I'll give out Denver plus 7.5 against the Lakers.
And a partridge in a pear tree. Rod, you're up.
All righty, we'll start with hockey. I love the Rangers today. Rangers on the money line. Ducks are 0-5. Horrible on back-to-backs. Really, really, really love this one. Love the Coyotes. Off of 2 days rest, 7-1. Coyotes minus 1.5. Love them on the puck line today. Flames, I'm taking Flames all value. I think they can come in there and sneak out a win the way they've been playing. Vegas at the Sharks. Strange, weird stat. Vegas is 26-7 on Sundays since they've started playing hockey. I'll take Vegas on the puck line, minus 1.5. I think they can get 2 on the Sharks. NFL, I like the Jags here. It's just too many points. Jags plus 7.5. Just too many points there. I like Dallas. I think Dallas can win it by a field goal in Philly. And I like the Bengals. Give me the Bengals on the money line over the Dolphins. College basketball, I like TCU minus 2.5. I think they just have the better D. I'm gonna take a shot with Davidson plus 2.5 and Georgia Tech plus 1.5 on college hoops. For me, I'm going to go with a 2-teamer puck line in hockey today. I'm going to take the Coyotes on the puck line, Vegas on the puck line, plus 463. And the NFL 3-team birdcage I'm going to go for. We're trying for 3 weeks in a row. We'll go Dallas minus 2.5, Jags plus 7.5, and Bengals on the money line. Gives us plus 535.
That covers it. Are you ready, Steve?
Yeah. I like the Saints against the Titans. I'll take that 2.5 points, and I like the under there. Seahawks, I like that. I like the over, so I'll take the Seahawks 9.5. I still like the Steelers covering against the Jets. Jets. I do like the under there. Panthers versus Colts. I'll take the Panthers and the points, 6.5, and I love the over at 47. I think that McCaffrey will have a good game, and it's in a good environment. As a Cowboy fan, I hate to say it, but I'm taking the Eagles at home. Injuries aside, Eagles on their side. The Cowboys are too inconsistent for me. I like the under at 46 in this game. The Ravens, I love it, covering 10 points against the Browns. I still like the Falcons. I think their offense is playing better, and I'll take that. I think a lot of points will be scored, so I'll go the over. I'll take the Kansas City Chiefs over the Bears, 6 points. The Giants, Redskins, love the over here. Again, we talked about, I think there'll be a lot of turnovers with the rookie quarterback, so I see defense scoring points, and so I love the over, but I'll take the Redskins. College basketball, I listened to your analysis, get off the train on Northern Iowa, so I'll take Marshall in the 11. I like the Dallas Mavericks over the Raptors. I'll take 2 points there. And my parlay would be definitely the Giants Redskins over. Love the Ravens to cover. They're going to clinch home field advantage. And I like the fact that it's only 2.5 points for the Saints on the road. So that'll be my 3-team parlay.
Guess that leaves it to me. I took the Tennessee Titans. I don't care about Derrick Henry. I think Drew Brees is going to have not a very good day today. I like the under in the Jets-Steelers game. We got 2 lousy quarterbacks going off against each other. I like the Jags in probably one of the worst games on the schedule that could possibly be. I'm going to also take the under in TV viewers on the Jags-Falcons game. I like the Bears against the Chiefs. I just think with the points, Soldier Field, I think this one has a chance. If the Chiefs win, it's going to be one of those last-second field goal things. You you could just almost see this game already being played, where it's like they line up and it's cold and whatever, and the kicker and the smoke comes out of his mouth, whatever. And it's like the last second field goal at best case scenario for the Chiefs here. I like the over in the Cowboys-Eagles game. I think Doug Peterson, we've seen him in elimination games and, back to the wall, no tomorrow games. And what he does is he opens the bag of tricks, right? The Philly special, whatever, man. He's got a lot of these plays. He spent a lot of time on the sideline drawing these things up when he was a player, right? I mean, nobody sat on the sideline like Doug Peterson. Meanwhile, I got the Panthers as well. In the NBA, I like the Pacers today against the Bucks. The Bucks have been so hot. We've been riding them like a horse, right? But I like the way the Pacers are playing. They're my favorite thing in sports, playing well as a team, and that's really what it takes to at least play the Bucks tough. I think the Bucks could win the game, but of course they're at home. But I like the Pacers in this one. I think the Bucks catch a break that the Packers are playing on Monday night, and they're home on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Hornets against the Celtics. This is an interesting one. We didn't talk about it on the show, but I did a video on this one. This is another one of those time to get off the bus type situations where the Celts are 11-1 straight up at home, 8-3 against the number at home, laying 13 points against a Hornets team that nobody could care less about, right? 13-19, it's like, the Hornets still have a basketball team. 13-19 on the season, 6-10 straight up on the road, so nothing to write home about. 9-7 against the number on the road. This is a team that gets too many points. They're getting 13 in Boston. Too many. I like Hawaii at home against UTEP. I live in Hawaii. I got to tell you, there's nothing more miserable than the plane flight to Hawaii. It's not fun. It's a long trip, and I don't care who you are, where you live, how much you fly. Hawaii is the furthest place on Earth from a mainland region. So no matter where you're flying from, the minimum flight time is 5.5 hours. Minimum. It's not fun, and then you have the time change thrown in. And even this time of year, when it's only a 2-hour time difference from the West Coast and a 5-hour time difference from the East Coast, trust me, it sucks. And that's why Hawaii is so good at home, especially in college hoops. I also like Yale against Clemson. I don't know where they come up with that line for that game, but that's my picks in this one. Anyways, let me bring the guys back in so we can do the group farewell here. Let's see. There we go. So thanks everyone for joining us. Be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And these bets, I thought we were done, but I'm just going to comment on this. These bets, if you don't like it at 13, why would you take a lower payout? It's hard enough to win your bet. Why would you ever take a lower payout? Take the other team. I mean, how hard is this? If you don't want to lay 13 points, well, that means you like the other team with the 13. It's just, for some people, hard to get on the underdog. I've been on the other side my whole life, and ask anyone that's ever had said anything that makes any kind of sense. I will gladly take the opposite side of that discussion. But anyways, this is Mitch, Steve. Thanks for joining us, Rod, Chris. It's been a pleasure. Tomorrow, I guess, will be the last Puck Dog show until Friday. So be sure to tune in. I'll be here at halftime of the early games. I have to say that I think today's NFL card, the late games are much better than the early games. Way better. I don't see much on this early card, but I still will be here at halftime, and then I'll be on for the late game halftimes, and of course, halftime of that Bears-Chiefs game. It is burrito night in the Wilson household, so always something to look forward to on Sundays. This is Mitch for the Puck Dogs, Steve Monahan. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you guys in a few hours.
Got it. See you, boys.
See you.